felt it, haven't you? The strange familiarity of a moment you've never lived. A face you're meeting for the first time. That already knows you. A dream that feels like a memory, but from where, from when, and in the same breath. A feeling that you are still being shaped, still ripening, still awakening. Like a story that hasn't yet learned how to end. This is the soul's paradox. It whispers from both directions, from the deep past and the open future. Memory and becoming, echo and emergence. But what if it's not either or? What if your soul is doing both, remembering and becoming, at once? Let's begin where all myths begin, with memory. Across ancient traditions, the soul has always been seen as a carrier of memory. In Hinduism, the Atman carries samskaras, impressions from past lives. In Plato's philosophy, we don't learn. We remember what the soul already knows. In Sufism, the soul comes from God and yearns to return, remembering its divine origin through longing. And in dreams, memory appears not as a record, but as a mythic echo. You dream of cities you've never seen, languages you never learned, pain you never lived, yet feel to the bone. What if these aren't past life fragments exactly, but archetypal residues, soul textures, as if the soul is made of story and symbol more than time? We treat memory as a mental archive, but soul memory is not informational. It's emotional, mythic, cellular. You don't remember with your mind. You remember with your being. This is why music, scent, and silence awaken something nameless in you. They're not reminders, they're invitations to remember something ancient, to return to a depth that never fully left. But here's the twist. As the soul remembers, it simultaneously becomes. The self you are now wasn't born in a single moment. It's still being born. Each relationship cracks open a new facet. Each heartbreak rearranges your internal architecture. Each insight recodes the soul's patterning. You are not just the memory of who you were. You are the mystery of what you're still becoming. In modern psychology, we're taught to look back to understand. But the soul also looks forward, toward who it's not yet ready to be. This is the dimension of becoming, the future soul, the emergent self, a presence that pulls you toward it before you can even name it. Carl Jung called this the self with a capital S, the totality of who you are and are becoming. It's not your ego, it's not your goals. It's the part of you that watches you change and guides you into what you must become. But what if these two currents, remembering and becoming, are not opposites, but spirals? What if your soul moves like a helix, curling backward and forward at once, recalling its essence, unfolding its future? What if the thing you're becoming is the memory of who you truly are? Let that settle, because in the next chunk, we'll explore the architecture of this paradox, how the soul stores myth, trauma, longing, and light, and how, through dreams, synchronicity, and transformation, it weaves memory into becoming, and becoming into remembrance. What does the soul remember? Not dates, not calendars. What does the soul remember? Not dates, not calendars, not the details of your to-do list from 10 lifetimes ago. The soul remembers symbol, feeling, vibration. It remembers in dreams that don't make logical sense, but feel like truth. It remembers in moments of unexplainable attraction, unshakable fear, or sudden intuition that something is both familiar and forbidden. You meet someone for the first time, but something ancient moves in your chest. You walk into a space and feel your body brace, without knowing why. This is not irrational, it's pre-rational. It's the soul's memory architecture, symbolic, somatic, subconscious, spiral. Jung called these archetypes, not memories of events, but imprints of meaning encoded into the collective human psyche. But what if they're also echoes of the soul's own long journey? Not records of who you were, but symbols of who you've been becoming all along. You're not haunted by past lives, you're braided by them. Their fears, gifts, and fragments don't just live behind you, they live within you. Your longing for sacredness, an echo of lifetimes lived in ritual. Your fear of being seen, a scar from a life where visibility meant death. Your effortless knowing of beauty, rhythm, silence, traces of when your soul moved through worlds of poetry and light. This isn't about proving reincarnation. It's about recognizing that the soul is not bound to linear identity. It's layered, symbolic, fluid, and most of all, alive. The soul doesn't age like the body. It ripens through meaning. Every experience you have is metabolized into its living story. And that story has gravity. It pulls in people, synchronicities, lessons. It pulls you toward the mirror of what you forgot, so you can remember it again. But here's the deeper secret. The soul doesn't just remember the past. It also remembers the future. You felt it. That strange clarity that comes before the decision. That vision of who you could become. So vivid it aches. That sudden whisper that says, you were made for more than this. What is that? It's not fantasy. It's not delusion. It's the soul's remembering of what you've not yet lived. It's as if the future is already etched into the soul's pattern, and your job is to become the one who can hold it. This is where soul memory meets soul becoming. You are not becoming something random. You are becoming what your soul already knows is possible. The self that remembers its wholeness is the self that begins to emerge. So we must stop asking, is it past life or future self, and start listening to the soul's real voice. It is all now. In dreams, in signs, in the ache that won't leave, in the silence that suddenly speaks. You are not broken, you are echoing, you are not late, you are ripening, and you are not confused. You are translating the language of a soul that speaks in myth, not logic. In the next chunk, we'll explore how these echoes become transformation, how remembering becomes becoming, through ritual, creativity, shadow work, and soul retrieval. Because the soul does not wait passively. It builds altars from the fragments. It burns the old self to make space for the real one. The soul is not static. It doesn't simply carry echoes from the past like a stone. It reshapes them, rewrites them, transmutes them. Becoming is not a future you chase. It's a present you build, from fragments once scattered, now gathered into wholeness. And the way the soul becomes? Not through striving, not through self-optimization, but through ritual, through retrieval, through an ancient form of alchemy where memory is not preserved, but reborn. Let's begin with ritual. Ritual is the soul's choreography, a way of anchoring invisible transformation in visible motion. Lighting a candle for what you're ready to release. Writing a letter to the self you buried. Sitting in stillness while old parts speak in tears and tremors. These aren't superstitions. They're technologies of remembrance, not to recall data, but to re-enter a moment that never fully closed, to speak to a wound that never got to speak, to revisit an identity that was exiled too soon. In ritual, the soul says, let's not just remember, let's remake. This is where soul retrieval begins, a process as old as shamanism and as personal as your own healing journey. You don't go hunting for past life names. You listen for emotional residues. The child you were who stopped singing. The teenager who swallowed their truth. The lover who dimmed their light to be loved. Each of these isn't just a memory. They're a lost soul part. And your becoming depends on calling them back. Gently, fiercely, repeatedly, until your internal landscape is no longer scattered, but inhabited, animated, alive. This is the soul's true work. Integration. Not to erase the past, not to escape the self, but to become vast enough to hold all of it. As James Hillman once said, the soul doesn't want to be saved. It wants to be seen. And when it is, it doesn't freeze in nostalgia. It becomes fire, the fire of transformation. You write the story instead of replaying the wound. You speak the truth instead of swallowing the ache. You create meaning instead of waiting for someone else to explain it. Because here's the soul's secret. It doesn't just remember what happened. It remembers what was meant to happen and helps you fulfill it now. It remembers the song you never got to sing, the version of you that didn't get to live, the love you didn't know how to receive, but are finally ready for. Becoming is not progress. It's resurrection. It's waking up what was buried so it can walk again as something new, So when people ask you, who are you becoming? Maybe the answer isn't a role or a dream or a goal. Maybe it's this: I'm becoming the one who remembers. I'm becoming the one who integrates. I'm becoming the soul, finally embodied. And when the soul is embodied, life no longer feels random. It becomes a mirror, a message, a myth unfolding. In the final chunk, we'll explore how remembering and becoming converge into a new way of living. One that doesn't worship the past or chase the future, but walks through this moment as both memory and mystery, ancient and newborn, wounded and whole. What if your life was never meant to be a straight line, but a spiral? Each return, not a repetition, but a deeper octave. Each ache, not a setback, but a soul-shaped invitation. Because the soul doesn't move in milestones, it moves in mystery, and mystery doesn't ask for answers, it asks for presence. This is the sacred convergence of remembering and becoming, not two ends of a timeline, but two mirrors facing each other across eternity. Memory reflects where you've come from. Mystery reveals who you're becoming, and the soul stands between them, whispering, both are true. Here's the paradox. Every time you remember something that felt lost, you actually become more whole. And every time you become someone new, you awaken a memory so old, it vibrates in your bones. Have you ever felt this? That as you grow, you're not just evolving, you're remembering something you always knew? That wisdom isn't arriving, it's unfolding? That you're not building a self from scratch, you're uncovering what was sacredly buried? This is soul wisdom. It doesn't cling to identity, it moves, it changes shape, it forgets, so it can remember again. It dies, so it can be reborn. Over and over again, the soul whispers, you are not behind. You are in rhythm. You are not late. You are in season. You are not broken. You are between chapters. And so the real question becomes, how do we live this? How do we honor the soul? Not just in moments of crisis or revelation, but in everyday life. Through ritual attention, through symbolic living, through choosing presence over productivity, through learning to listen for the whisper behind the noise. You wake up and ask, not what do I need to do, but what is my soul asking today? You light a candle, not just for atmosphere, but as a witness to something being born in you again. You walk through the world, not as a performer, but as a being in mythic unfolding. Even heartbreak becomes sacred, because it reveals how much you're capable of feeling. Even boredom becomes sacred, because it invites you to see again. Even longing becomes sacred, because it points toward what the soul is still remembering. You begin to live from the inner altar, where nothing is wasted, where everything is meaningful, and where your soul is not a ghost of the past, but a guide into the mystery of becoming. So ask yourself now, what am I remembering? What am I becoming? And can I trust that both are holy? Because the soul never really forgets. It just waits for the moment you're ready to carry its knowing, not as a burden, but as your birthright, not as a task, but as your truth. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be whole. You are not here to relive old wounds. You are here to transmute them. You are not here to choose between remembering and becoming. You are here to live the bridge between them. This is the path. This is the return. This is the sacred breath of a soul that was never lost, only unfolding. And now, you remember. Next time on the Syntax of the Soul series, we explore the soul's mirror, reflections in silence. Until then, stay curious, stay conscious. If this stirred something inside you, subscribe, like, and share this with a fellow seeker.